Recently, I posted a video which quickly reached 2,000 views. If you're thinking about the views, you have missed the point. The heated arguments are the point. The comments were heated because of what I said, and that divided the community into two: pure developers and semi-designers. This is still the essence of this video. I hope there won't be any comment because my point is straightforward, simple, and easy to comprehend. If you have been shaken by the fourth industrial revolution, well, we are already in the 10th psychological revolution. The perception of things, it's becoming more and more important than the actual performance of things. Let me just take you through this. This is the user interface. This is the app. I have connected my phone using an app, a piece of software called Let's View. So this is my actual screen. So let me click here and I'll be taken to a second screen. This is the way in which a developer will create this component, or how far it can push this component. I'm going to compare a pure developer and a semi-developer. A pure developer is a developer who feels like design it's none of his business. Or, well, maybe he's working at Netflix, Google, or a Fortune 500 company. I am Matthew Msingati from Africa, and I'm from the south of Africa. We don't have Silicon Valley there, meaning that we've got tech startup companies that are emerging, companies that are looking for someone who is a developer but at least understand a thing or two about the design. So a developer will only give us this output. Let me click. This is what a pure developer will give us. Okay, but now let's look at a semi-developer. Developer but knows a thing or two about design. Let's click and see. Isn't this amazing? If you agree with me, then let me take you through how I got into this point and why I'm saying that a pure developer would have given us this and a semi-developer would have given us this awesome animation. Okay, let's just get into it. I am creating an app from this user interface. So as a designer and a developer, I was working on this interface and I was looking at this part. Okay, when I was unpacking, okay, this design, okay, or this piece of work, I was asking myself why the designer decided, okay, why the designer decided to put this dish and this part, I will call it the spinach, and the spinach separately. Okay, if maybe this file was handed over to a pure developer, that will be none of his business because he's all about code, if then else. Okay, but I am a developer, but also I am a designer too. So to me, this was a concern. Remember, I took this design from the internet, so this is not my design. Okay, so there's no way that I can call the designer and ask them, what were you thinking? So this got me thinking for a while until I landed to a conclusion that the designer, okay, number one, gave me a freedom to do whatever I want to do with the asset. Okay, because he could have saved this image the other way. Okay, what will be the other way? Okay, the designer could have combined the spinach and the dish. Okay, meaning that this could have been one image, something like this. Okay, if I click on this and click on this and press Ctrl G, that means I have grouped it. So if this could have been like this, this was going to work fine. And in this design, the one that has been made by a pure developer, it was going to work because this is just an image. Okay, as you can see when I'm clicking on it, okay, this image would work perfectly because it's just a combination. But for some reason, the designer decided, okay, to keep these separate. Step number one, to give me a freedom as a developer, but I have pushed it further and I ask myself, why would the designer give me that freedom? And I landed to a conclusion that the designer wanted, even though he didn't communicate it, but the designer's intention or intent was to arrange this layout in such a way that if I wish to animate it, then that won't be an issue. Some designers, they can think that far. Unfortunately, some developers, they can, well, the opposite of that. Okay, so as a developer who is a semi-developer who knows a thing or two about design, this has been a question for me, and my solution has been this awesome animation, something that a pure developer would not have come up with. Okay, so that's about it. I believe, and I truly believe, that developers should know a thing or two about design. Even if you are working at a bigger company that has got a separate what can I say, department for design, what I've noticed in bigger companies that at least I have worked for, developers or designers who don't want to cross over, they have got a lot of back and forth cycles. You are given a task to develop this and you will develop it this way. You will never ask the designer, and if there is something that needs to be tweaked, you won't tweak it. You will just push the whole thing back to the designer, and the designer will push the whole thing back to the developer. So there is some sort of inefficiency and redundancy in between, because these are separate worlds. Okay, I would like to assume this doesn't happen at Figma, okay, which is, I would like to believe Figma, it's a design first tech startup. Okay, it's sitting between design and development. I would like to believe Figma developers, they know a thing or two about style guide, about gradient, about opacity, because they are working on the actual product that is being used by developers and at the same time being used by designers. In case maybe you're wondering, how is Figma these developers concern, there is an option here for plugins. Okay, this is code. Okay, everything that happens here is code. Okay, this is being done by developers. Okay, so there's no way that a designer could write this code. So Figma is the perfect example, okay, of this psychological revolution, putting more importance on the design, because we are human beings, our emotions come first. Even if you can tell me that I am going to get something guaranteed, that appeals to the intellect, but if it's painful, if I am struggling, if it's emotional draining in the pursuit of getting it, believe me, I might say, keep your assets, I'm cool with my peace. So I predict that designers will one day take jobs for developers. In case you might want to know what have I used in this awesome animation, I have used, first of all, the project has been created by React Native Expo, and I have used React Reanimated. Okay, React Reanimated. Okay, this awesome library for this animation. As you can see, I am Matthew Msingati, the designer and developer. If you feel like this video has added value, please don't forget to hit that subscribe button. See you on the next one. Are you a developer or a semi-developer?